What's up, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more punk rock, and we're going to listen to some more Anti-Flag. We're going to do another double reaction where I'm going to listen to the studio album version of a tune and the live album, or a live version of the tune. But this time, unlike the last reaction for them I did, I'm going to do it in reverse order. We're going to listen to the live version first. The reason we're going to do that is because before the live version, they basically explain what the song is about and what it means to them. So I figured rather than have me prattle on for a few minutes about what the song's about, I may make some comments after we listen, but yeah, I figured this would be a good opportunity to let a band explain for themselves what a song is. We're going to listen to a song called A New Kind of Army, which is originally from the album of the same name. I don't know if you can see it, it might be just out of frame. It's a very cool cover. It's basically like the Iwo Jima like flag planting cover, but it's like four punks with like, the flag's upside down and they all have mohawks, so it's sort of like, taking a very notable image from history and like popular culture and sort of repurposing it for indeed a new kind of army. And that's as close as I'll get to beginning to explain what the song is about. But yeah, bottom line, this album I think came out in '97. I'll look it up and put it in the comments if it's different, but bottom line, I'm a big fan of this album. In some ways it might be my favorite. I like it top to bottom. Police, is it Police Story? Yeah, Police Story, one of my favorite songs. Just a really good tune. Tearing Everyone Down, the opening track of the album, excellent tune as well. And once again, shout out to Justin Saint on the back, in full punk rock mode. But yeah, like I said, we're going to listen to A New Kind of Army, but we're going to do it by listening to Mobilize, which is their live album from the early 2000s, like post 9/11, which, they talk about it in there's half of this album is a live show, and they talk about it in one of the shows that like, after 9/11, a group named Anti-Flag, known for having dissident views and so on, it's like no venues really wanted to book them, and they were worried that there might be just like a general public backlash just on the perception that they were not patriotic or whatever, so they didn't play shows for a little while, but eventually they started playing small shows again, and I think the recordings here are from some of those like small shows after they started playing. But yeah, so they play A New Kind of Army. I think I already reacted to Bring Out Your Dead, which is this song they play right before it, and I mentioned that because the last 30 seconds of the track cut for Bring Out Your Dead is them talking about and setting up a new kind of army, which, like, if you just started on the live album part of this Mobilize album here, A New Kind of Army, it just goes into the music, but I back cued it, so we're going to listen to the last 30 seconds of the Bring Out Your Dead track, which is really just them about to set up a new kind of army, and then we'll listen to the studio version on the album of the same name. So, like I said, we'll let Justin explain what the song is about. Here we go.
I saw an article in the New York Times that actually mentioned Anti-Flag in it, and one of the things they say is that people on college campuses are being more turned on to the military, and they're turning off of songwriters like Bob Dylan and Neil Young and anti-establishment bands like Anti-Flag.
We made the New York Times.
One of the things I think to myself,
the rim shot.
What's so fucking wrong and what's so anti-establishment with the idea of wanting peace? Why is that so anti-establishment? Why is wanting to be told the truth anti-establishment? These aren't anti-establishment ideas. These are pro-fucking peace ideas. And that's what this song is about. A New Kind of Army. It's about peace. Let's do it.
Like the syncopated rhythm. massive anarchy. And it's sort of presented like, once armies of the non-violent make attackers confront their humanity, maybe things could be different. Complicated. Sounds like a small venue, right? And now the studio. Like a ballad, but I was just thinking it's a slower, like, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's a slower tune than a lot of the other songs, but it's like, I'll work on it. That we heard to this original. It's remarkable. I mean, that like guitar slide, it stood out more, but it was the same thing in the live version. I do, like I said, there were a couple layers, including that guitar riff, that I think, like, it's basically the same, but, like, the sonic quality and the live acoustics versus the, like, recorded studio version, they sounded slightly different, but, like, the riff itself was, like, you know, exactly on point. So I do think they have a great ability to sound very close to their studio albums. I mentioned before, like, I like kind of both ends of that. I like it when a band, you know, I hear a song that I'm fond of already when I see them live, and it sounds very much like the song I know. But I do also like when they, you know, maybe change the arrangement, or even if it's just play it a little bit faster, or do a couple, like, vocal flourishes that aren't on the original one. Yeah, I enjoy that as well. So I guess, you know, I like both sides of it. But yeah, they seem to be very good at playing close to their studio sound. And I remember that, you know, having seen them a couple times, I do remember that, like, again, like, it wasn't just hearing it on Mobilize, like, seeing them live. It's like they really do sound very much like the studio song. So, yeah, let me know what you think of the tune. You know, as Justin explained, it's a song about peace. It's a song about people, you know, who aren't going to use violence to further their aims, who aren't going to normalize political violence, who aren't going to you know, degrade their own humanity and sort of sully their own actions and psychology by using fisticuffs or indeed force of any kind as a sort of, like, ideological tool to advance their worldview, which, again, like, if you have to use, like, a cudgel to advance an ideal, you know, it's debatable whether it's one that it would necessarily come to public acceptance through volition alone. Like, basically, if you have to beat someone up to convince them of the validity of your argument, then you really haven't actually convinced them of anything. You've just shown them that in one way or another you're physically stronger, and therefore you are going to impose your will on someone else, which, you know, people from across the political spectrum like to talk about, you know, personal freedom. But it seems, you know, there's a sort of revanchist, like, flavor of conservatism that doesn't want to let other people just be, despite claiming to be about individual rights and opposed to big government and so on. So yeah, I think this song is making the point that, you know, Anti-Flag and other people who share their, like, progressive values are going to resist that, but they're not going to do so with a fist or with a weapon. They're going to do so with their brains, with their words, and with their non-violent, like, public activism. So and again, check out Mask of Anarchy by Percy Shelley if you're not familiar. I mean, it's about other issues as well. It's, you know, like a political commentary in many ways, but it's one of the first articulations, at least in, like, Western, like, European literature. There are examples in, you know, literature from other places around the world, but it's one of the first articulations of overtly, like, explicitly non-violent themes. So yeah, it's worth checking out if you haven't seen that. But other than that, let me know what you think of the tune. I will see you next time. Peace.